Hello, it's James Willoughby, and we're here to share with you what's happening in the Austin market. This is the week ending on November the 3rd, 2024. We're going to call it week 1 of April just to make our numbers line up with last year's numbers. And let's dive in. Here are the active listings. And as I mentioned last week, this graph is starting to show the total active listings going down. You can see the curve here. The listings have gone down quite a bit. I have an interesting view for you. I'll show you here in a second, but we're under 11,000 listings right now. And that's in the MSA, and that's residential listings only. Now, if I remove 2022's data, it looks much more dramatic, pretty wild. So you can see where we kind of started off at about the same level as last year, and then the inventory started growing a lot faster than it did in the spring and summer of last year. It peaked out here in the July area, and then it started coming down in August, and you can see it's kind of come down pretty much every week since then, taking us down to under 11,000 where we were almost at 12,500. So same week last year, if we go to the same week last year, we're at 98.51. We're at almost 11,000. So there's still about a 1,500 home gap that is starting to close. So it'll be real interesting when we pull back here to see if this graph, this blue line, starts to get a lot closer to the red line. Basically, what that means to me is that the inventory is going down, and that allows the market to improve. Now, why is the inventory going down? Well, we'll show you that here in a minute, but it's primarily because of expired listings. And as far as the actual activity last week, new pendings, I wanted to show you this graph here because our new pendings are under 700 now. However, if you pull back, you can see that we're higher than we were this time last year. So that's an interesting note. Now, keep in mind, interest rates were a lot higher this time last year. So that's the main reason. It's also the main reason why I had such inventory growth this year, or the interest rates. Now, this graph here shows you new active listings right here, 618 new active listings versus 661 new pendings. So when we look at the pending graph, you can see it's above the new listing for the week graph. So bottom line is we're selling, or at least pending, more than we're putting on the market right now, which is going to cause the inventory to also start to drop. Now, here's the real reason why inventory has dropped, and I'll get rid of the yellow graph as 2022 so it doesn't jam everything up here. But you can see that at the end of October, which shows up in the week 1 of November statistics, we had nearly 600 expired and withdrawn listings, which is a little bit lower than last month, but about the same as the previous couple of months before that. So you can see we have a heavy number of homes that are expiring. That means a lot of sellers just failed to sell. They've either changed their motivation, the market didn't meet their expectations, or something happened that caused them to pull the home off the market. Now, a fair number of those come back on the market. So next week, you'll probably see a little bit of surge of new active listings where they hired another realtor, and it gives them a new days on market clock and so forth. So anyway, that's interesting. And then we always talk about absorption rate. Our absorption rate is about 16 and a half weeks right now. It's actually a little bit lower than it was this time last year. It gets very herky-jerky around the holidays, where one week you feel like you're a winner, and the next week you're a loser just because of the amount of activity or lack of activity that happens in the marketplace. As far as interest rates are concerned, we're thinking rates will continue to slide down, although they had a 3 or 4 or 5 week run up since it kind of hit a low here for the year. There's everything in the world to tell us that might happen. So we'll get more into that next week. Until then, have a great one. Thanks so much.